In our next discussion related to final account adjustments, we have to start talking about the next concept now, and that is the concept of abnormal loss. Now, what is this abnormal loss? The goods which are lost by fire, lost by theft, lost by pilferage, which is not planned, against which you have taken the insurance or you may not have taken the insurance. In such case, it will be considered as an abnormal loss, which is not within the inherent characteristics of the product or the process. Such kind of loss is what we call as the abnormal loss. Now, this abnormal loss, whenever it takes place, in that case, you have to first take out the cost of that abnormal loss out of your trading account. Then such loss has to be adjusted within your profit and loss account, being a non-operative loss. Why it is a non-operative loss? Because it doesn't occur on an everyday basis, and therefore the cost of abnormal loss is taken out of your trading account and is debited to your profit and loss account. In between, if there is an insurance claim, with the amount of that insurance claim, we have to reduce the amount of abnormal loss. Now, if that insurance claim is already been received, then in that case, it will be added to the cash. If that insurance amount is not being received, it will be shown as receivable in the balance sheet onto the asset side. So there will be three effects of this particular transaction. Total debit और credit का same रहेगा, but ultimate effect तीन होने वाले हैं. In what way? Just observe it. If there are uninsured goods, how the adjustment of that will be done, and if there is insured goods, how the adjustment of that will be done. We'll do both the cases. Uninsured goods of rupees 10,000 lost by fire. If this much is given in the form of adjustment, in that case, there will be no effect of this in your balance sheet. Both the effects of this will be coming in your trading and profit and loss account only. Yesterday's notes, I've shared, I'll be sharing the videos today, Rapsana. From there, you can pick it out. So the effect of this kind of transaction will come only in your trading and profit and loss account. It won't come in your balance sheet because no asset or liability is getting involved into that. So if this is my trading account and this is profit and loss account, trading account and P&L account. In the trading account, onto the credit side, I'll be writing buy goods lost rupees 10,000. Correct? And at the same time, it being an abnormal loss, a non-operative loss, that will go into our profit and loss account as P&L account debit side, because it is a loss. Losses have to be debited or not. So to loss by fire, rupees 10,000. That's how the effect of this will be given in the final accounts. But this is only for the uninsured goods. Had the insurance been there, then in that case, the effects will change. That is, suppose the adjustment is given something like this. Goods of rupees 10,000 lost by fire, insurance company admitted a claim of rupees 6,000. So your total loss is not 10,000. Your total loss is 10,000 less this 6,000. That is 4,000 is the non-operative loss or not? And if only 4,000 is the non-operative loss, the amount that will be debited to profit and loss account will be only rupees 4,000 and not the whole of 10,000. In what way it will be presented? Let's observe it. In my trading account, I'll have the same amount. Buy goods lost rupees 10,000. Because total goods कितने के बाहर गए 10,000 रुपए के, तो trading account will be credited with the same amount. All right. However, in the profit and loss account, we'll have the situation as if this is the debit side of our P&L account, to loss by fire rupees 10,000 less insurance claim rupees 6,000, and to the outer amount column of P&L account will have only 4,000. That is the net amount of loss. And at the same time, this 6,000 is known after preparing the trial balance. Therefore, that will come in our balance sheet onto the asset side as the amount receivable. So I'll have another format of balance sheet. Under the current assets, we'll be writing insurance claim. Insurance claim. How much? Rupees 6,000. So if you check it out now, the ultimate total effect of debit and credit remains at the same value. The total of debit is again equal to the total of credit. How? P&L debit rupees 4,000. Asset shown in balance sheet 6,000. So total debit of 10,000 and trading account is credited by 10,000. So total of debit is equal to total of credit. Am I correct, Renu, Aditya? Rafsana, Sanyogita, going good or not? Yes. So this is the adjustment related to the goods lost. Let's come to the next one. That is goods distributed as free sample. The adjustment related to goods distributed as free sample will be absolutely same as that of the uninsured loss. Means it will be credited to the trading account and will be debited to P&L account in the form of advertising expense. Because we have learned it earlier also that whenever the goods are distributed as free sample, it's basically for the purpose of advertising company's goods or not. And as it is for the advertisement of company's goods only, therefore, the value thereof will be credited to the trading account and debited to the profit and loss account. Am I clear? Yes or no? Next one, directly I'll come to unrecorded purchase. Now, what do I mean by unrecorded purchases? There is some credit purchase that you have done from your supplier, or there must be some cash purchase that you must have done from your supplier, but that you have not adjusted, that you have not accounted yet. Had you done the accounting of that, you would have passed the entry as what? Purchase account debit to supplier account or purchase account debit to cash account. But that entry remained to be passed. And as a result of that, what happened is your purchases given in trial balance are lesser, and at the same time, your creditors given in trial balance are also lesser or not. So for that purpose, whenever there is an adjustment coming with reference to unrecorded purchases or unrecorded sales, those will be added to the respective item of purchase or sale, because you want to increase your purchase or sales in the trading account, and those will be added to the debtors or creditors in the balance sheet at the same time. क्योंकि जब आप एडजस्टिंग एंट्री पास करोगे, परचेस अकाउंट डेबिट टू क्रेडिटर्स अकाउंट, मींस द क्रेडिटर्स will also increase and purchases will also increase. So how will you present that in your final accounts? Trading account, debit side, purchases, add unrecorded purchases. Balance sheet, liability side, creditors, inner amount column, add unrecorded purchases. Did you understand this? So, unrecorded purchases or sales. First, the effects in trading account. If this is my trading account, this is debit side and this is credit side. So trading account, debit side, to purchase. Inner amount column, the amount given in trial balance. This is trial balance value. Correct? In my trading account. Add what? Unrecorded purchase, which is given in adjustment. And the total thereof will go into the outer amount column or will be considered for the purpose of subtracting the returns, if any, or any other adjustment that you need to do related to purchases. Correct? Whereas in my balance sheet onto the liability side, I'll have the effects as what? If this is my balance sheet, this is liability side, this is asset side. In my balance sheet liability side, I'll write creditors or sundry creditors as given. Inner amount column. Again, this is what? The trial balance value. Correct? Add unrecorded purchase, क्योंकि उससे आपके क्रेडिटर का भी वैल्यू बढ़ेगा या नहीं? हाँ, अगर इन्होंने कहा होता कैश परचेसेस, देन आई वुड हैव रिड्यूस्ड इट फ्रॉम माय कैश बैलेंस. This is how the adjustment will be done for the unrecorded purchases. Exactly in the same way, you'll be doing the adjustment related to unrecorded sales as well. Observe it. On to the credit side of trading account, I'll write by sales. Whatever is the value thereof as per the trial balance. Correct? To that, I'll be adding what? Unrecorded sales. And the balancing figure will go into the outer amount column. And at the same time, this will adjust my debtors as well or not. जैसे अनरिकॉर्डेड परचेसेस से आपके क्रेडिटर्स अफेक्ट हो रहे थे, उसी तरह से अनरिकॉर्डेड सेल्स से आपके डेटर्स अफेक्ट होते हैं. So we'll go on to the credit side as debtors. Inner amount column for the trial balance value. Add to that what? Unrecorded sales. And the total will go to the outer amount column. Did you people get that? So this is how you need to do the adjustment related to the unrecorded purchases and unrecorded sales. मैं clear on this? See, सिर्फ adjustment explain करना is one part, but how will that be presented in the answer? That is also to be understood. जब आप फाइनल अकाउंट के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करना चालू करोगे तो हाउ द प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ दैट विल गेट अफेक्टेड, दैट्स मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. And that is why I am trying to elaborate on the presentation part of each and every adjustment in detail. Right? Interest on capital, interest on drawings, as far as the sole proprietorship is concerned, this is not applicable actually. So I'm not going to discuss that. As far as bills receivable and bills payable are concerned, these bills receivable and bills payable is the concept that we have to discuss, and once we are done with that concept, after that we'll be talking about this again in detail. The reserve for discount on debtors is quite similar to the reserve for doubtful debts. जब वो प्रॉब्लम्स के प्रोसेस में आऊंगा मैं, उस समय पे मैं ये रिजर्व फॉर डाउटफुल डेट, रिजर्व फॉर डिस्काउंट एटसेट्रा डिस्कस करूंगा. As far as reserve for discount on creditors is concerned, this is not applicable at all because it violates the concept of conservatism. How can you record an anticipated, expected income in your books of accounts? Yesterday only I told you that there is a concept called as conservatism. कंजर्वेटिज्म कंसेप्ट के हिसाब से एंटीसिपेटेड एक्सपेंसेस या लॉसेस को रिकॉग्नाइज करना चाहिए, पर एंटीसिपेटेड इनकम्स या गेन्स को रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करना चाहिए. एंड देयरफॉर आई एम इग्नोरिंग दैट एज वेल. That's violating the concept of conservatism, so we are not going to talk about that at all. So with this we are done with the adjustments. There are certain adjustments remaining, but those adjustments will be doing along with the problems and not separately. क्योंकि जब तक मैं आपको डिटेल में कंसेप्ट ऑफ प्रोविजन फॉर डाउटफुल डेट, प्रोविजन फॉर डिस्काउंट ऑन डेटर्स नहीं समझा दूंगा, तब तक इट विल नॉट बी राइट फॉर मी टू एक्सप्लेन दैट हाउ विल इट बी प्रेजेंटेड इन माय आंसर. ऑलराइट, सो नाउ व्हाट विल डू इज, as we are already having the problems with us, we'll start solving the problems, we'll start dealing with the problems related to the final accounts. You already have the sheet now. We'll first come on to the very first question. From the following trial balance of Miss Shruti. Now, whenever you are given a question related to final account, there is a specific approach that you are expected to follow. Why? Because when you are not following the proper approach for solving the questions, in that case, you do not get the correct answers to that. So what we are supposed to do is, first we'll be reading through the whole question related to final accounts. Once we are done with the reading part of the question, after that we'll first finish the adjustments. जो कुछ भी adjustments दिए होंगे वो पहले finish कर लेंगे. क्यों? तो हमको पता है कि जितने भी adjustments हैं उनके हमें दो इफेक्ट देने होते हैं. So we'll try to finish off with the adjustments part, and then once we are done with the adjustments, after that we'll complete with the items given in trial balance, because items given in trial balance will have only one effect in the final accounts, or not? Do you remember this? And based on that we'll prepare the whole of our answer. It being the first question, you just observe how am I doing it. I'll share this video today itself so that you'll be able to follow that at a later point. You don't write anything for the time being, for this question only. From tomorrow onwards, you'll be required to solve the questions, but for today, for this question, you don't write anything. You just observe what we are doing in here. From the following trial balance of Ms. Shruti, you're required to prepare trading and profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March of 2018 and the balance sheet as on that date. You have been given the information with reference to capital, drawings, opening stock, purchases and sales, office salaries, royalties. Royalties are nothing but the बादशाही जहाज. Royalties ना, जो बादशाहों की जो चाय होती है वो बादशाही चाय ना. But anyways, royalty is nothing but a kind of a payment given to a person from whom you have taken certain intellectual property rights. Like आप किसी के पेटेंट्स यूज कर रहे हो, आप किसी के ट्रेडमार्क्स यूज कर रहे हो, आप किसी की प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस यूज कर रहे हो, उसके अगेंस्ट जो पैसा दिया जाता है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज रॉयल्टी. ROYALTY. Royalty is a direct expense and therefore it will appear in our trading account. Trade expenses is nothing but a kind of miscellaneous expenses. So that will appear in our profit and loss account. Advertisement, wages, cash in hand, debtors and creditors, bad dates, investments, bills receivable and bills payable. Bills receivable is your asset and bills payable is your liability. कुछ तो डायरेक्शन में प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है ना. एनीवेज, मोटर वैन, कौन सा मोटर वैन है भैया 800 रुपए में? नो, बिल्स रिसीवेबल एंड पेएबल इज करेक्ट एट दिस पॉइंट ओनली, but here this 3000 is at this place. All right, motor van is of 15,000. Discount, furniture, office rent, plant and machinery, freehold property. Freehold property means the property that is owned by you without the control of anyone else. Legal control is not there of anyone else. That is called as freehold property. All right, and then return outward, that is nothing but purchase return. There is only one adjustment given in this. आप कहोगे सर इसमें एडजस्टमेंट एक ही है इसीलिए आपने कहा कि ये वाला प्रॉब्लम मैं सॉल्व करता हूँ. इट बीइंग द फर्स्ट प्रॉब्लम वी आर सॉल्विंग इट, अदरवाइज हम लोग साथ में ही सॉल्व करेंगे, दैट विल बी मोर कंफर्टेबल फॉर अस. Closing stock was valued at 13,500. All right, in this we have to prepare three things. One is the trading account, second is the profit and loss account, and third is the balance sheet. From the exam point of view, you can prepare trading account and P&L account together by keeping a kind of line break in between, wherein above part will be trading account and lower part will be the profit and loss account. But I would always suggest that you should prepare a separate trading account and a separate profit and loss account. क्योंकि आपने फीस पूरी भरी हुई है तो आप जितने चाहे पेजेस यूज कर सकते हो ICI के. It's not because of that. It becomes more comfortable for you to write the separate trading account, the separate profit and loss account, and balance sheet, of course, has to be prepared on a separate basis only. All right. So for the sake of understanding this problem, I'm doing for you all. Question 1. What's that page number? Page number 8. On page 8, we have to prepare a trading account Now, whenever you are preparing your trading account, your profit and loss account, it is said to be prepared for the year ended. Why we use the term as for the year ended? Because it is including all the incomes and expenses for that given year only. So, trading account for the year ended 31st March 18. This is what is given to us in the question. All right. Now, the similar way we have to prepare a format. Now, in this, if you want, we can prepare an inner amount column and an outer amount column, which looks more presentable. Either which way, if you want to. We can do it. There is no problem. So this is your trading account, and the similar way will be required to prepare the format for profit and loss account as well. and will be requiring a balance sheet as well. Profit and loss account is also prepared for the year ended. Of course, we'll be requiring more lines in that because there are more items related to profit and loss account as compared to the P&L account, trading account. So I'm just preparing the format for you. कल से जब आप lecture attend करोगे, so it is expected that you are having the formats ready with you, so that it becomes easier and faster for us to continue. All right, and then I'll be requiring a format for balance sheet as well. But when we prepare balance sheet, we do not use the term as for the year ended. We use the term there as on a particular date. Why? Because balance sheet is showing the financial position, and the position of a business may change from one day to another. And that's why in the case of balance sheet, we prepare it as on a particular date. As on 31st March 18. So in the balance sheet, the left hand side will be called as liability side, inner amount column, outer amount column. Right hand side will be called as assets, in which we'll be having inner amount column and outer amount column. In fact, in this question, you are having only one adjustment, so we were not requiring any inner or outer amount column. But for the sake of understanding the correct formatting, that's why I've drawn that inner amount column and outer amount column. Right? Now, adjustment is only one, that is related to the closing stock. How do you do the adjustment of closing stock? Closing stock is appearing into the trading account onto the credit side, and at the same time in the balance sheet onto the asset side. Do you remember that? So in my trading account onto the credit side, I'll write by closing stock. I said we'll first read the whole question, then we'll finish the adjustments, and then we'll go into the trial balance items. Am I right? Yeah. That was 13,500. Correct or not? And at the same time, in my balance sheet onto the asset side, under the part of current assets, यहाँ मैं heading नहीं लिख रहा हूँ fixed asset, current asset, but I'm trying to divide it on automatically without making the mention about that. Closing stock 13,500. Am I right? This is the adjustment done. Now, as there is no other adjustment in this question, I'll directly go on to the items which are given in the trial balance. Am I right? The very first item which is given in the trial balance is capital and then drawings. Now, drawings will be subtracted from the capital only or not? So, it will appear in my balance sheet onto the liability side. As what? Capital. Into the inner amount column 52,500 less drawings within the inner amount column itself 1,500, because capital drawings have to be reduced, adjusted against the capital only or not. And I'm not going to take the balancing figure to the outer amount column. Why? Because profit or loss of business also belongs to the capital. Therefore, the balancing figure of this I'll be writing in the inner amount column itself. 51,000. Is the point right? Next one. Opening stock amounted to rupees 6,000. Now, closing stock of 1 year becomes the opening stock of next year or not? So that opening stock will be appearing in the trading account onto the debit side. So let me go into the trading account onto the debit side. As what? To opening stock. Please remember this forever, that items given in trial balance are already been accounted and therefore there will be only one effect of the items given in trial balance. एडजस्टमेंट क्लोजिंग स्टॉक जो दिया हुआ था उसका हमने पहले कोई भी एडजस्टमेंट नहीं किया हुआ है, कोई भी अकाउंटिंग नहीं किया था, इसीलिए उसके दो इफेक्ट आए थे। बट जो ट्रायल बैलेंस में आइटम दिया हुआ है उसका ऑलरेडी अकाउंटिंग हो चुका है, इसलिए उसका एक ही इफेक्ट आएगा। यस और नो? नेक्स्ट वन, purchases and sales. Now you are already having the return outward also given to you as the last item, क्योंकि हमने प्रॉब्लम पहले से पढ़ रखा है इसलिए हमको पता है। So into the trading account onto the debit side, I'll write what? Two purchases. In the inner amount column, 40,000 less returns, rupees 1,000, and balancing figure to the outer amount column 39,000. Correct or not? And then sales given to us are 70,000 on to the credit side. Because there is no return inward, therefore sales are directly present into the outer amount column. By sales directly to the outer amount column, rupees 70,000. Last वाला item था trial balance में return outward, which I have already adjusted. Am I going good? Office salaries. Now salaries are related to operating of the activity and therefore salaries will come in our profit and loss account debit side. So P&L account debit side, to office salaries directly to the outer amount column, rupees 3,000. Am I right? Royalties, I said it's a trading expense. It's a direct expense and therefore it will appear in the trading account debit side. Royalties on production, royalties, these all are considered directly as the direct expenses. So trading account debit side, to royalties, rupees 1,000. I am trying to deliberately solve this question very slowly so as to understand every aspect of that in detail. I hope the things are going fine for everyone. The next one, that is the trade expenses. I said trade expenses are kind of miscellaneous expenses and therefore those will appear in your P&L account. Same is the case with advertisement expense. So to trade expense, rupees 700, and advertisement expense being an indirect expense will also appear in P&L account. To advertisement expense, rupees 2,600. Am I right? The next one, wages. Now wages are generally paid related to purchases or production process and therefore wages will come into your trading account, it being a direct expense. So it will go into my trading account debit side, to wages 5,200. All right. Cash in hand is my asset or not? Same is the case with debtors. Yes or no? So in my balance sheet onto the asset side, debtors directly to the outer amount column 25,000. Cash in hand, because there are no adjustments on that, therefore those are appearing directly into the outer amount column 4,000. Along with the debtors we were also given the creditors ₹15,000। ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि डेटर्स और क्रेडिटर हमेशा एक ही लाइन में दिखने चाहिए, दोस कैन बी प्रेजेंटेड इन डिफरेंट सीक्वेंसेस आल्सो। नहीं तो आप देखोगे यहाँ पे डेटर्स के सामने क्रेडिटर प्रेजेंट किया है सर ने, मतलब हमेशा ऐसे ही होगा। इट्स नथिंग ऑफ दैट काइंड, राइट। Bad dates. Now, bad dates are given in trial balance, means those are already been accounted or not. And as the bad dates are already been accounted, therefore it will have only one effect, and that is profit and loss account onto the debit side. यही अगर एडजस्टमेंट में दिया गया होता तो I would have reduced it from debtors as well as debited to the P&L account. पर क्योंकि वो ट्रायल बैलेंस में दिए गए, मतलब डेटर्स के अगेंस्ट ये ऑलरेडी एडजस्ट हो चुके हैं. Is it point right? So in the profit and loss account debit side, two bad dates. नाविन्य खजूर. नाविन्य ने कल टाइप किया था, dates means खजूर. Then investments is neither a fixed asset nor a current asset. So it will appear in the balance sheet onto the asset side above the current assets. All right? Yes, Navinya, absolutely correct. आसमान से गिरा और खजूर में अटका. इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कितने थे? खजूर के नाम पे मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट भी भूल गया. 8,000 रुपए. Bills receivable and payable. Bills receivable is my asset and bills payable is my liability. So on to the asset side, bills receivable to the outermost column 2,000, and on to the liability side, bills payable rupees 3,000. Am I right? Motor van is a fixed asset or not? So that will appear in the top of our balance sheet onto the asset side. Because there is no adjustment related to depreciation, so motor van will appear as such. Motor van. यही अगर depreciation का adjustment होता तो 15,000 I would have shown in the inner amount column and then reduce the depreciation from that. Correct? Discount is given in the debit side, means it is our expense or not? Discount can be expense, can be income. If it is given in the debit column, means it is an expense. If it would have been given onto the credit side, means it would have become our income. So here in the profit and loss account debit side, to discount allowed rupees 800. Is it right? Furniture, plant and machinery, freehold property, these all are our assets. Whereas office rent is our expense or not? So in the P&L account onto the debit side, to office rent rupees 1,500, whereas furniture 5,000, plant and machinery 12,000, and freehold property 8,000 will appear in the balance sheet asset side. Freehold property 8,000. अब 8,000 की कौन सी प्रॉपर्टी है पता नहीं, ज्यादा से ज्यादा 2 गज जमीन होगी ये. फर्नीचर, प्लांट, ये कोइंसिडेंस है कि हमारी जगह मैच हो गई है, हमेशा ऐसा नहीं होता है. नहीं तो आप कहोगे मास्टर ने पहले से प्रॉब्लम रखा हुआ है, इसलिए लाइंस भी बराबर छोड़ी है. Furniture was 5,000, plant and machinery 12,000. Is it right? So all the items from the trial balance are also over now. Now what you need to do is you need to first close your trading account, from where you will be getting your gross profit or gross loss. Against that, we'll be closing our profit or loss account, from where we'll get our net profit or net loss. That net profit or net loss will be adjusted against capital, and based on that, we'll be able to close our balance sheet. Did you understand the sequence? First trading, then profit and loss account, and then the balance sheet. So if I just make the total of it, my trading account credit side is better than the trading account debit side, which means there is a profit. Credit side is 83,500. Debit side seems to be lesser than that. So I just pick up my calculator, जो मुझे मेरा साथ देना चाहिए. हाँ. So 83,500 minus 6,000 minus 39,000 minus 1,000 minus 5,200. So 2 gross profit carried down is 32,300. This is balancing figure of my trading account. Because trading credit was better than debit, that's why there is a profit. All right. Now, where will this gross profit come? Into our profit and loss account onto the credit side. Correct or not? So, profit and loss account credit side by gross profit brought down rupees 32,300. And looking at the amounts in the P&L account debit side, it seems the P&L credit is better than P&L debit, which means there is a net profit. 32,300. So 2 net profit, and this net profit will be transferred to what? Transferred to capital. Is it point right? 32,300 minus 3,000 minus 700 minus 2,600 minus 200 minus 800 minus 1,500, and that comes to 23,500 as our net profit. Now this net profit will be added to the capital or not? So in the balance sheet, onto the liability side, add net profit of how much? 23,500. Total goes to the outer amount column as 74,500. Is it right? Plus 51,000, that is 74,500. Now the total of liability side, if I take, that comes to 74,500 plus 15,000 plus 3,000, that comes to 92,500. Friends, I have given all the effects correct. So even the total on the asset side has to be 92,500. Because we are following the dual aspect concept, so the total of assets has to be equal to the total of liabilities or not. Do you remember that accounting equation हमने किया था? I just cross verify 15,000 plus 8,000 plus 5,000 plus 12,000 plus 8,000 plus 13,500 plus 25,000 plus 4,000 plus 2,000. 92,500 is the total of the balance sheet onto the asset side. Did you understand this? Why these are matching? Because we are following the dual aspect concept or the double entry accounting system. Am I clear for everyone? Did you understand the whole problem? Now today's homework is those sheets which I have shared with you. You have to refer through the theory part of that thoroughly. And when you are seeing this video lecture, along with that, you should be solving the question on your own. This first question you'll be solving along with me when you'll be looking at this lecture. Am I right? Tomorrow again we'll be meeting at 9:15 and we'll continue with the problems of final accounts. Yes, Aditya, tell me.
So, in while preparing the balance sheet, is it necessary that we have to leave some space and try to fit all the uh, fixed assets, current assets, and all the liabilities
Or
so that?
having the better presentation, that's necessary. If you look
Okay.
at my balance sheet here, which I have presented, in that I'm showing the fixed assets first, then the investment, then the current assets. Initially you would be finding, sir, what is this? But once you are used to it, since beginning, if you are doing it like that, then latter part you will not be finding any difficulty in that. That will become a kind of routine for you. All right.
So even if suppose my assumption goes wrong and I give some less space, so
That is manageable. There is no problem on that front.
okay.
But it's always better. Full page use करो ना तुम balance sheet बनाने के लिए. Half of the space you keep for fixed asset and half of the space you keep for the current assets. Automatically you'll be having good space for both the things. All right. Yes, Navinya, go ahead. You had a question.
नहीं सर, वही डाउट था आदित्य ने जो
Okay.
पूछा वही।
Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow at 9:15. Thank you.